I'm around for 20 seconds.
Air them out.
Yeah.
But no, there's a lot of crazy crap going on out there. And there was a guy that came out yesterday in response to the thing from last week or whatever, where the official said that they set the fire and that they had to the Chinese displaced like 28,000 people to, for the Olympics like 6 years ago or something.
There you are.
Hey there, how you doing?
All right.
I don't
Can
know.
you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay.
But it's always offering.
We are in a very bright room.
Out there. So it's like,
They've
Very bright room.
It used to be green. They painted or put different lights in or something. It's very bright.
It's not green anymore.
It's not green anymore. Yeah. I didn't think it looked bad before. It need to tone it down just a smidge.
Well, you can definitely see better in here now. It's not as dark.
Well, it was never like working in a dungeon.
No, but it's a little dimmer. Now you can see really well.
No.
Those are not LED lights. They're really bad on your eyes.
I was searching for something on eBay the other day, and I ran across this ad. I wanted to bring it in and share it with you. It's on paper, so. Well, I printed the eBay ad out, and I included.
Were you selling it yourself or did you?
No, I didn't neither. According to that would be $12 worth of screws.
Yeah.
Now, who in the hell buys $12 4 screws off of eBay?
I will give way too much when I buy the pack of 10 or 12 screws for $1.50 at Home Depot.
Yeah, 4 screws, $8 plus $4 shipping, $12.
Well, that's crazy what it costs to mail anything anymore. I sent some stuff to my buddy in Seattle the other day. It was $57.
So,
Yeah.
so you just can't go down to Home Depot and buy a pack of screws then, eh? These are special, huh? These are the $12 special screws.
I know somebody that worked at Hillman Fastener, and they sweep up 30 pounds of screws every day. And he'd just grab me a handful every now and then.
I saw that and it just stopped me in my tracks. So I thought, so I know I have like 400 of those screws on the garage.
Where my dad's working, they have 3 or 4 Gaylords of just mixed screws.
We buy them by the pound.
Well, yeah, they're a scrapper. So like when a store goes out of business, they just dump it all in a box and bring it in there,
Here's my thought. Do not give Ray any ideas about selling stuff on eBay. Ray has so much stuff. One screw, $3.
What some of
plus
the
$4
stuff that are in those bins cost.
He'd
Like
be
they're
rich.
worth your time to pull out because some of them are like, anchor screws like that, like those are $2 or $3 a pop, and it's like just to put them up on eBay or something like that.
When I pick
Or
up
don't
scrap
carry them.
off the curb, I disassemble it, and I keep the hardware. And I had a guy that was at the house, and he was taking stuff apart and just going to throw it in the trash, and it's like, what are you doing?
I throw them in a jar and sort later.
This was several years ago. There was a move out down the street from us. And Julie and I do a regular routine trash run. And they had an extension cord that was just tangled up. It's like, well, there's nothing the matter with the cord. You can look at the ends and they weren't ripped out or torn or anything like that. All the prongs were there. It was just a matter of untangling it. So we just started throwing stuff in the back of the truck. We get down there and they have thrown away several hundred children's books they've thrown away flatware. When you get home and they had some really nice full bowl soup spoons. And that's the kind my wife likes, so I dug those out. We start looking and they're a 1941 King Arthur Oneida silver. And so I thought, well, I had taken all the rest of the flatware and thrown it into a purse to give it to Goodwill. I better go out there and see whether there's any 4 place settings. Complete. I dig those out.
Yeah.
And like $25 a place setting on eBay. So Julie and I are out there. We have the trash can open, the lid's attached, so it's folded over. There's our workstation. We're just going through and dumping stuff in there. I'm throwing gift cards into the trash. And she says, "Oh, don't do that. There's bound to be money on that." So I give it that. One gift card has $165 left. We've thrown out quarters, so we started accumulating quarters. We've thrown out $33 in quarters. It's like
They're just throwing money away.
we
Did somebody lost their house or was somebody cleaning out a parent's home?
I don't know.
That's crazy.
Julie is a member of a Quaker meeting, and they were going to put together baskets for children for Easter. I said, well, if you're homeless, you really don't need a basket. What the hell are you gonna do with a basket if you're homeless? Why don't we make some bags? And I know how to sew because my mother knew how to sew. And growing up, I didn't know everybody didn't know how to sew. But we had some nice upholstery material and we started making bags. I think we made 35 bags that were about this big. We used a $165 gift card to buy grocery ribbon to make the handles. And we were able to put 2 children's books in every bag out of this stash. And the people at her meeting were just dumbfounded. This was all
In the trash.
yeah, it was all waste material we're going to be done.
I don't know. Went through the trash. No. Trash in the day. That we've seen what all in the rooms out, God. Saying that the weather is something on top of the bottom left of the full silverware. But even like half of it was real silver. So I'm like, I forget what brand it was, started with me. They had the box and they were like, I think it probably worth some money. Like it's real silver and how that was looking at some of it. I great stuff, but. It was like, More the 1800s.
Well, Julie's father and grandfather were auctioneers. And so growing up nearly every weekend, she went with them and was attending an auction. So she has an eye for what stuff goes for. So the sofa, well, that's like $15 if you can get it.
If you're lucky.
Yeah, if you're lucky. And no one wants fine china or silver. It's just
nuts, wasn't it?
yeah, it's just nuts.
Honestly, like we had this came to the Salvation Army and a really nice wide open intake. Can't find anybody one. I was like, you look on, I was like $5 for something, whatever. I don't care. It's nothing wrong with it. It's really nice furniture. It's real wood. It's 50+ years old. Not a mark on it. Nobody wants that kind of stuff. They'd rather have an IKEA or go buy something new. It's like bonkers.
That's like going to school auctions.
Yeah.
They have to give away a whole room full of desks and chairs.
Nobody.
No,
interested
nobody's
in that.
going to make a school. I mean, you know, the Amish go up there. I've seen them and they'll buy a whole room and pretty much be done for the day.
Yeah, well, I just say, I just see stuff
But-
like that go through, and you see all the time. Nobody ever wants the chairs, but there are
No,
tables or practically.
You-
The
you only need
bookcases.
that stuff if you're got a school.
Yeah,
And if you've got a school, you've already got that stuff.
Well, I ran across a pretty good deal off of Craigslist. And I don't know whether you guys are familiar with a Milwaukee portable bandsaw. And I got it from a guy I happen to know. I didn't know I knew him until I got there to the house. I picked up a Milwaukee portaband for $115. So it's a $350 tool.
it's horrible stuff, but it is nice when you
No, I'm thinking,
do that one.
Axon.
That's all, yeah, it's
Portaband.
a big difference when you got it.
Portaband, 120 feet per minute, hacksaw.
Yeah,
On average, about 15 seconds before I gotta take a break.
yeah, no, I saw something the other day that, the guy was using a sawzall. And instead of messing with, for what it costs for a blade for a sawzall, he was taking hacksaw blades, cutting them like razor blades, and then have a little thing to punch the hole in
Yeah.
and clip it into the hacksaw, or into the sawzall. And then he was using it to cut sheet metal for like car restoration stuff, because it was like sawzall, you know. can
I
make
think
it
I saw
perfect.
that.
I was like, dude, that is slick as crap. He's like, yeah, these are great. They're like a tenth of the price, you know, and they cut 10 times more steel than the sawzall blade does, because they're harder material, you know, and it's like, and then he just trace out where the new metal to match to the old metal, and then would be like a nice smooth seam weld on it. I was like, dude, that is cool as crap. And then you get like 8 blades out of a, you know, one hacksaw blade.
Back in the 60s, I was interested in geodesic domes. And I bought a geodesic dome book. Which gave me several frequencies and the scheme for cutting and stuff. And we had a story in there about these people that were building, hippies that were building a geodesic dome. And they had gone to the scrap yard with axes, climbed up on top of the cars and used an axe to chop the roof out of the car. Or taking the hood or the trunk, just something that was flat. Loaded up their truck. And they were short 2 pieces. They were driving home when they see this Cadillac sitting by the edge of the road. And having no respect for all,
Yeah.
they climbed up there and cut the roof out of this Eldorado. And they were musing to themselves what the person's reaction
When they showed up.
when they go out and find that the car hasn't had its wheels removed, which would make sense, but someone had
Taking a chunk out of the roof.
with an axe. It was an obscene thing to do. But
Explain that one to your insurance company.
But I don't know what happened, but somebody, I don't know, moves, I mean, the hood's gone. I mean, what do you mean the hood's gone? The roof's the car, it's like, it's a picture. It's like, what the hell?
no, it was the wrong thing to do. It was an obscene abuse of their ability. Just a wasteful chunk.
I've been seriously staring, we've got 2 skids of stainless steel sheet metal. And like 4x2x4. There's something at the scrap place. I don't know whether it was like all fall or whatever, or you get plate steel or stainless steel, and you'll thin like you built a car body on it, it's like 440 stainless steel, it's like. Wonder what they want for that, they charge by the pound, it's like my car won't haul it. But I had my truck running, I was like, I throw it in the bed of that. But. Make it nice.
A guy I used to work with had been in industrial hydros for Leica. And they have stainless sheets that they use as an interface with the press to put the surface on stuff. And there is a limit as to how many times they recycle that. And then to them, that stainless steel is just trash.
Yeah.
So he was being one of the members of the team there, if he needed any sheet metal or whatever, he would take home a piece of stainless sheet. It's like, my house I wouldn't have room for.
Wouldn't have room for it, but you could build a hell of a warehouse with all the pieces over the years.
I can't weld stainless. I probably wouldn't be able to drill it because it would be more hardness, but it would be really nice stuff.
Maybe riveted. With a drill bit. But you can't get those drill bits anymore, we don't make them anymore.
No,
You pay like $1,000 a drill bit now to buy it from Chicago, because they're about the only people that make one.
on that is a JPEG file.
Okay.
And the JPEG file I converted to a SVG, I believe, which is a file that can
Vector graphic.
be sent to a laser cutter. And I attempted to have them cut that out in here. And even with the 3 attempts, I couldn't get a clean piece out of that. But if you look at that JPEG and pull it up, you can see that's one small part of what I wanted to get cut.
Oh,
Yeah, if I can't get one piece to come out cleanly, I couldn't imagine what I would have to do to get those out of the wood individually. They're free now, but there are bits stuck into the base material that did not come out clearly. And that
How much power did you use?
they were at maximum power and they slowed the speed down. I'm not familiar with the laser.
On the 40 watt?
Or
Or
one
the
down
bigger
here
one?
in the
Yeah, they've got 2 of them. They've got a 40 watt and they've got a bigger one, but I don't know what.
this was I believe the smallest one. It was next to their control panel.
They're kind of stuck in there.
Well, they're free now, but they're the entirety of each piece is not free.
Yeah.
It left a small chunk. But if you can look at the JPEG image, that is about 1/20 of the entire puzzle that Julie got me for my birthday. And the precision that they're cutting that with, their kerf is 0.03 millimeters.
So
About 1,000th of an inch.
30 microns, okay.
did they think that the small laser machine was better to use than the larger one? Or?
I bought them a flash drive and said, this is what I'm interested in. And they took the route that was best. As it turns out, that JPEG doesn't see the black line as a cut line. It sees the black line as an object. So there would be two passes, you want to cut both sides of the line.
Hmm.
So I don't know, from a software standpoint, how to take a JPEG image like that
That's the SVG file.
and turn it into, the SVG, because the SVG says every line there is two passes.
So the simple, quick way to do it is a piece of software called Image Magic.
Image Magic,
And it's spelled with a CK, but convert file name to different file name. It just does it. You can do scaling and all, and Image Magic is an amazing piece of software.
I will have to try this.
I'm fairly certain it should be available for Windows.
Can't you convert a JPEG to SVG in GIMP?
I don't know about GIMP, but certainly in Blender, not Blender, but Inkscape.
Yeah, Inkscape will do it.
And Inkscape, I know you can get for Windows.
This
don't.
image here,
I don't
the
have-
JPEG was converted to cutting file off of a free Adobe software online. So drag the file here and they made the conversion. But I don't have any software to deal with those types of files. I don't really have any knowledge to go on with it either. So
You have a really free with Adobe.
I'm pretty
It's
sure.
never really free with Adobe.
I'm pretty sure GIMP will convert to an SVG.
Probably it'd be an export.
It would be an
because
export.
It only does XCF as a save.
Yeah. Seems like
I'm sure I've got them.
the
No, I don't.
I've only really used their large format printer down here because, obviously we've got access to Ray.
Yeah.
Well,
I hate to consider Ray to be an infinitely available resource.
yeah, I'm pretty much right there with you, but you want to look at that. Oh, but he's got way more knowledge than they do about. He probably would be able to look at that and figure out the better settings because it looks to me, and I'm a layman at it, but it looks to me like they overpowered it. You can see the little burnt scorches around the edge.
The first time they ran it at 100% power and the speeds of it, it did not cut all the way through.
Right.
You could see that the back side of it was pretty solid.
Which to me says they should have put it in the bigger machine and run it probably at like 70%.
Well, in that SVG file, as I indicated, it considered the line to be an object that had two sides.
Yeah.
So what we did is we took one of the pieces, pulled that out, and said, just cut that object. So the
As a
line,
test.
the line would be not the cut path, but one of the edges.
Yeah.
So I've got it convert installed on this. It just converted in 3 seconds. So yeah, it works. Oh, wait.
The large format printers, you export, you do a JPEG or something else, you export to an SVG and then you mess with the SVG and export that to a PDF and then they print whatever off of the PDF. It's a wonderful process and I've done it a few times. It's kind of interesting that they're using the same thing, but I think I use Inkscape to do it.
Okay. Right. So the file that goes to the printer.
Well, the printer prints a PDF.
Okay.
So
But
you
are you
export,
talking about the laser center?
no,
Okay.
but I saw a PDF on there, so they converted something to a PDF file.
That's what they took is one of the objects
Yeah.
out of the JPEG.
And converted it to a PDF.
Yeah.
In Inkscape, it would be considerably easier to isolate individual shapes. If you needed to do that, like, I don't know if it tessellates or something, but you could get it down to the 8 pieces you need to do the tessellation.
The size of the, there are 500 objects in the overall picture. I am not capable of sitting down with a mouse and a cursor
Oh, yeah, you don't need to.
tracing.
Yeah, install Inkscape, just play with it, because that's all I did was play with it, and I came up with, those big maps I made for the robot.
Yeah.
That was all done with Inkscape.
There's even a version of Inkscape you can put on the thumb drive and it'll just run from there.
Drive.
Actually, I can get that for you.
It was one of the last minute things I thought. Just as an experiment, like,
See, I think. Well, Ray would know whether or not it could be printed because of all the extra curves and stuff. Or, how slow it would need to go to do it, or all the power. That's why Ray's
yeah,
a good resource.
well for knowledge.
Because he knows all that stuff, and he could just look at that and go, okay, we need to change this, and then it should be fine. Oh, we probably need to round that out just a little bit or whatever.
The puzzle that this is a mirror of is a little thicker than this material. And they have, if you pull up the JPEG,
I gave you back sorry. I gave you back the thing.
Micro Center, what's going on in Micro Center today?
Oh, yeah, I stopped there on my way here.
What the hell?
Selling some video card.
Well, I know, but that was at 9 AM this morning. The fact the line was still going out the
Still
building,
selling them.
like, what the? The line wandered around us inside.
I was at 2 weeks ago, I was at Myers, and there was a line out wrap around the store going into the electronics department. I have no idea what they were selling, that they had a line of people waiting for.
Probably another video card, but I
Yeah.
don't think they get enough of them.
At Myers?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
well,
Okay,
back to this for a second. If you look in the middle, there appears to be like a flower.
Yeah,
If you go, and the stems coming off of that, yes. Those are identical, and they are cut with such accuracy that the 5 objects are interchangeable. Down that.
Yeah.
The only way you know if you have the right object is by looking at the colors to see whether you have it in the right place. And if you take your cursor just about 45 degrees to the upper left from where you are, down a little bit, there's kind of like an oak leaf there, or a little leaf.
all right in here, yeah.
yeah.
I thought that was a way to get into this puzzle. But there are about 300 of
There's
those.
one right there,
Yeah,
and one right
identical.
there, and one right there.
Yeah. So it's like, that ain't gonna get.
they wanna keep you entertained for a while.
So
Yeah.
the original puzzle was laser cut,
Yes,
so there's gotta be a way to do it.
yeah,
So they just they either don't have the right machine to do it, or
Well,
they don't know how to do it.
or the intermediary, which is me, don't know how to do it. Yeah.
Do you want that copy of Inkscape? Okay.
Oh, that would mean that you need the thumb drive.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh, screen sharing, oh. Okay,
You
whatever.
broke it.
I broke it. I don't know what I did. But screen sharing has stopped.
Blame the Cintiq. You in town or you out and stuff?
He was in town last week. I don't know.
I see something about it.
I have no idea. I can barely keep up with my own stuff anymore. Try to keep up with everybody. No idea.
That's why I was thinking. Been talking about doing all the time.
Did you send everybody
Just sent
just
that to
me?
you.
Okay,
I did not want to burden everybody with it. I didn't know whether anybody else would have it.
I found it.
I thought it was a pretty cool.
Well, I've got a Harbor Freight calendar, digital calendar.
I went out in the garage and I've got two also.
And mine, the battery died in it a long time ago and I kept it. I've never bought a battery for it, but I bought, one of their non-digital ones because they're handy to have. But thinking maybe I should take that apart and see if
What
neat
we're
trick.
referring to, Matthias Wandel. Who, if you're not familiar with it, he operates wood gears.
That's the,
Yep. And he's the one who posted my lathe video. And,
this guy's insane.
I've never met him, but we have had many conversations about stuff that he's posted. And he has taken a digital caliper and found that it had a 4-prong output and has looked at the output from that for keeping track of and posting things.
Timings and all kinds of stuff.
okay.
Thank you very much.
He deciphered the output from those and hooked it up to a Raspberry Pi. And got it down to what, millimeter? Smaller.
Oh, yeah.
Or
At least tens, probably hundreds.
Yeah,
I thought it was thousands. of
thousands.
inch
Yeah.
mils.
And even figured out how accurate it is at that scale.
But it was interesting to me. I don't think I can replicate his process. But he was going through and doing an average of like 16 different values to get an approximation.
He publishes his code.
Yeah,
It's easy to copy what he does.
his code, he said there was gonna be a link on it. And as I recall, he wrote it originally in Python. And then said that's too slow and rewrote it in C because he said that was about 1,000 times faster.
Yeah, he started off running it on a Raspberry Pi 4 with Python. And over time, Python just got bogged down and couldn't keep up with the data. But in C, he ran it on a Pi 3 and it was fine. But then he had to add the average to it because the Pi 3 didn't read it quite right or something. There was noise on the line or something.
So fun thing, at least for the Harbor Freight ones, they use the LRS-44 battery. It's the same diameter as a AAA. You can,
Is it?
yeah, you can stick a AAA in there with a wire from the top.
Okay.
Well, what he had done on them is use the power source from the Raspberry Pi. And he shifted it so that it was between two resistors. And had gotten the peaks to be at a place where he could read them.
Mhm.
I'm doing a poor job of explaining what appeared to be a fairly complicated circuit. Well, a simple circuit, but complicated to describe.
He basically built a level shift
Yeah.
into it with some resistors. It was kind of interesting. He used a pull up and a pull thingy, and but the Raspberry Pi wants 3 volts. 3 volts is considered high. And because the output was only 1.8 volts, he needed to shift the whole thing up to a level that the Raspberry Pi could read.
But he was using the power from the Pi to power the caliper.
Yeah.
So he didn't have to worry about batteries.
The little connector looks like a USB port. And if I would have seen it, I would have thought that it was a USB port, but apparently it's serial data. And apparently, even though he had multiple calibers from different companies, they all pretty much have a output like that.
Yeah.
You just got to decipher what the output's telling you. So the Harbor Freight may not be the same output.
I already had a Harbor Freight one. This was years ago. I'm in Aldi's and they've got a stack of them for $6 for a stainless steel caliper. So I bought 4 of them. They still all work. And yeah, internally they're the same. They've got that same connector.
Yeah. Well, I figured after I pulled mine back out of the drawer and I look at it, I'm like, that's the same body as it's the
Mhm.
same damn thing. They just cheaped out on it. And
I don't know whether you guys get inundated with ads from Ally. What is the Chinese sales company?
Oh, yeah.
AliExpress, Alibaba.
But they're selling for 75 cents a piece.
Unless you want a left-handed one. And then they're $44. Ask me how I know. See, backwards. $40.
They saw you coming, see.
Yeah.
My sisters are both left-handed and they both sew. And left-handed scissors are just not a different shaped handle on right-handed blades. But that is what most people sell, is right-handed blades with a left-handed handle. You can't operate them. Blades don't want to go together, they want to open up.
No, left-handed screwdriver.
It's Vicente.
Hi, hello.
We haven't seen you in a while. We said your name 3 times. You appeared.
Oh, yeah, Joseph.
Okay. I was in the makerspace asking for a banner, I tried to do it by the webpage. It was impossible. I asked, and now was.
I brought you $12 worth of screws.
Don't confuse Vicente.
Yeah, not the same, right? This is a different finish.
That is a capture off of eBay.
It's-
Where people are selling it. These happen to be the ones I have in the garage. There's screws to hold the cover onto it in a treadmill.
This screw is
I mean, you don't really have a great deal of precision requirements.
yeah, like painting or something.
Yeah, black oxide on them. But regardless, they're not your $12.
4 screws for $12. I think we could all get rich if we just put screws on
Aquí
eBay.
My daughter suggested I'd be a millionaire if I cleaned out my garage.
I've seen your garage, I believe it.
Yeah. This is typical though, Leroy, most people look at my garage and they say. And then there's a brief pause.
Howdy.
Oh, no. Mike,
Fidelis.
say again?
Fidelis, like fidelity.
Okay.
My father doesn't own that, but yeah, Fidelis. Yeah, we very Fidelis. Sorry, it's
Leroy?
Fidelis.
How are you?
Good.
Well, how are you doing? And I know.
Well, you have
Oh.
to help me.
And that one right
Tell
there,
me the accent.
I figured.
I'm from Central Africa, Cameroon,
Cameroon, okay.
the armpit of Africa. That's how I put it.
Well, I don't know, but I've been told Africa has several armpits.
Yes, how that put it, Central, if you look at the map.
Yeah, Cameroon.
Yeah, at the Pacific coast, Atlantic coast like that. So this is Africa, my body, and this is Europe on the head. This is the left one.
I would cross this.
Ivory Coast, this is Africa, Ivory Coast is here.
Mhm.
Benin, Togo, Ghana, Nigeria, and
You're
I
north
think
of-
Tanzania.
all right, so Kenya is here, yeah, Kenya is here, Tanzania is here, but I am right here. So the DRC,
That's probably the best map I've ever
You're
seen.
north of Democratic Republic of
yes,
Congo.
and then that's the Congo, and then I share the west Congo with Congo. Gabon, Congo, and Equatorial Guinea, and my areas.
I'm from about 20 miles away.
Going south, east,
North,
north, okay, then this.
close.
Middle town, middle town. Okay.
It's beautiful.
Is the one you say has the printers and stuff? I see that. Oh, okay, okay.
That would probably be me, and then
Actually, I was talking about Ray.
we've got another member that's got a bunch of laser machines, he owns a laser company. He's not here. And Art is in California. Wow.
Yeah. Easy. Huh? Yeah. So what took you to Kenya? What took you to Kenya?
Kilimanjaro.
Kilimanjaro, you like
I didn't know that.
the highest peak.
Yes, I'm familiar with that. I just didn't know he was climbing it. I used to. A lot of places.
Vicente is a daredevil. He jumps out of planes and flies and does all kinds of stuff.
Riding. Riding the planes. Skating, on the ground, sailing. Paragliding, also, soft one.
You look at him and you go, nah, but no, he's done all kinds of stuff.
So you hike just for them, because we have a mountain too, Mount Road. It's the second highest peak after Kilimanjaro in Africa. So it is right here, the town of Australia grew up into. If you look at it right here, you see the mountain road. She's born, no one ever goes in front. She's born. Yeah, so just, if you look at it, there's a mountain like that. You can see it. So, or you can just do the mountain road. It's 5,000 miles of this year, 5,000 we got this year. Second after to enjoy. So we do have a good.
That was my laptop for a second. Why is it speaking?
Why is my laptop?
Friends was, RLDS missionary in Bolivia. And they would, occasionally go on a mountain climb where. Smarter Every Day is a website, and they recently posted the oxygenation level as they're climbing Kilimanjaro. And I thought it was pretty neat. They got nearly to the top, and they met two porters who were bringing down a person who was suffering from the lack of oxygen.
Usually, like several weeks before go to the island.
What was I doing right? It's the better question.
Very clean, the design. You are using only this battery, right?
Yep.
It's absolutely clean. Very nice.
And it's working too, that's why I was
Yeah,
asking.
but this is the most strange thing I ever saw, but
So, originally, I had, you remember the large robot that we had for, Mark?
Yeah,
Um,
so using that software, was that what wrong?
yeah, that's exactly what was wrong. I had a different joystick and a different, controller. But I took that code and put it
Oh, yeah.
over here, made the changes. And over on the robot side, I actually had it would not turn right. I had it set up to go forward when it was supposed to be turning right. So that was bad. And this joystick is a slightly different joystick. So you don't get.
So here's the real question. Does that mean this code now, that you have now, would make that old one work?
Yeah, I could make a couple of small changes and it would still work. So the code is basically the same. The motors are driven differently. This joystick is slightly different, but
this is an I2C joystick or is
yeah. And to overcome some of the problems, I've got one button just to make it go forward. And you hit the button again and you can turn left or right. And then if you hit the joystick button, it goes backwards.
So you ready to put a module on the moon?
Yep.
What we'll call it, yesterday, the day before. Some independent company put the rover on the moon.
Oh, really? Nice.
yesterday.
it's a better idea to use to put the battery a little bit over the caster wheel, you know? I mean the center of gravity of this thing a little bit instead of the middle. Yes.
Lots of wobble.
I don't
Ways forward.
open the battery compartment up. I don't know if the holes lined up right on the bottom. I don't know if the holes lined up right to move it too much.
No, I mean, well, no, I mean, turn,
Okay.
180.
But then it would go backwards because the wires are on the wrong side.
No, but it's, wires will be here. Same thing.
But left to be on the right and right to be on the left.
This is the problem. This assign the software.
Yeah, so it turns to like.
You gotta turn the joystick over.
Everything's.
Don't confuse me. Oh.
It's better to have it wait a little bit for the.
It's not horrible.
The problem is when you move fast and stop, you will see this, you know?
Well, I could just put another wheel on the front.
Yeah.
I got plenty of those chassis, like, I could just put another wheel on the front.
I have like a 10 with this chassis.
But because it's an axial rotation, it wouldn't change the direction or anything like that. And both of them are going to be rotated equally.
It is much smoother.
And you can see that when it's turning left and right, I can actually control
Yeah.
which way, how fast.
You know, you want to go down there, I wanna go get my.
Well, time to add cameras and
Yeah.
stuff.
Bumpers.
VR helmet.
Yeah.
Drive to the library.
It should actually go faster when I go full throttle, but there's still a small problem with the code.
You're using Wi-Fi or
ESP now.
SPNR? Yeah, this is this. We need to.
Talking sideways.
Don't mess with me. I've got, for the forward and the back, I've got it set to 60 as far as the speed goes instead of 100, where left and right, I can go to the full 100.
This is Atom ESP 32 S something.
It's not
Display.
this, it's just the original ESP 32.
That is,
And the base is a motor robot controller, motor controller.
Yeah.
How they call it?
It's Atom Motion is what it's called.
when you move that in a straight line, that is a very straight line.
It's pretty straight. This little chassis we found on eBay years ago.
Yeah, $8 each.
Yeah, we got them. I mean, I bought a ton of them for like $8 or $10 a piece.
Nice.
And they came with the motor drivers and all kinds of stuff.
They have a board, each one with the power conditioning
Power
At least
and
and
motor
toolbox.
driver.
and then the drivers of the motors and the motors and the
They didn't
encoders.
come with the encoders.
colors.
No, I didn't get it.
I bought a lot of colors for it in MCM before they close.
Yeah, I wish I would have bought this.
Absolutely cheap.
But that's the Atom Motion with the Atom. Like the Atom Motion, I think it was like $14, $15. And I just used the chassis. I didn't use the motor drivers or anything from Hulu. So. It does pretty good going slow.
You need to design your own chassis and
Yeah,
use the same motors. Smaller chassis.
it's not too bad. It does pretty good rolling backwards too.
Right. Oh, okay.
They still probably still sell the rolling, right? The
Yeah.
chassis.
You guys pleasure seeing the wise RC car.
the University of Texas designed a kit using this chassis to learn embedded systems. And they use Texas Instrument microcontroller, Cortex M3 or something, with this chassis and a board, and they use it in different courses.
TI isn't supporting that robot anymore. Everything about the support for that is community based now. So TI is almost what little bit I found on their website.
Some other company about TI.
I don't know, but
Just needed
They-
suckers to bind them all.
scrubbed pretty much all of it off their website, and there's just a little bit. I grabbed everything I could.
Box full of boards from,
They,
nobody wants them. They're fine much. But it's.
I got one of their, it's TK or something robots, and it took me forever to figure out how to get it to program because the information is gone. Oh, there it is. It's all apart.
No one broke one.
Only broke one.
Yes.
He broke two. That one's broke too. But they all look like they broke it at
That's it.
something.
Toy with it enough to probably get it in during the wearing.
Well, that's what I mean. That's why Ray's such a,
Well, I mean, that's all it, those kind of stuff is, it's just, what do I need to do and how long does that work for, what am I gonna need? Thing with 3D printing, you have to know the plastic to get the right rates. The guy made that rotary pie, or that rotary, what they call it, Tor 3D printer. He's real big about every time he gets a new color plastic that makes another centimeter cube before you learn the temperatures and every weight you look at a hero. I don't program for each color and measure. So what was really interesting, because he collected all that data when he was selling his printer, the Polar 3D or whatever, he pre-programmed the brand and the color. So the new people, the 3D printing didn't have to figure it out, and I did pretty well tuned for the right tips for the colors. So we're all different. So that printing,
I've only really found,
whatever.
I've only really found one filament that was really, really picky about temperatures. And that was that silk stuff. I hated that stuff. Yeah. But most of it's not nearly as picky once you figure out what your printer likes.
Yeah, and how far off the sensor in your printer is.
Yeah.
Maybe that's really. Sensitive too.
I've used it, not a lot. I do just about everything with ETG. It's cheap. Just like
I don't know. Ever since I got that Cobra, I haven't used any of my other printers. It's just that thing's so fast and multicolored. Which
I've got the multicolor attachment on the Prusa. I hate it. It just is broken. And I went to try to remove it and revert the software, and now it keeps running into the bed. I don't know what I've done. Which is why I'm using the reality.
the the flashboard. Flashboard, so I've got the old one. That was two extruders, a dual extruder. And I rarely did I ever actually use multicolor on that thing. It could have been a single extruder and I would have been perfectly fine and happy. But this Cobra 3 with 4 color, I trim multicolors all the time. It's like that is the coolest thing ever. It just does what it's supposed to do, and you
Yep.
don't worry about it.
You were printing,
Do I?
program, you were printing.
Yeah. The Cobra, any cubic made it. It's pretty much a direct competition with the Bamboo Lab multi-color, whatever that thing is,
Carbon.
carbon. A whole lot cheaper than the carbon.
No, don't tell me that. What are we talking?
I-
300, 400,
400
that's real.
with the multicolor. You can find it on sale for a little bit cheaper than that. That's-
I don't wanna drop like, well, they were running the other day, like $1,100 sale or something for, it was one of the 4 colored spools for the PS1, or X1, the pricey one. So it was like $400 off. I didn't buy it, but talked a friend into it.
Bamboo Labs had one that was competitively within the same thing. I think it was around $600,
Yeah, the PS1.
and it looked like a nice printer. I'd probably say the Cobra 3 is probably on par with that one.
Yeah.
Than the carbon.
And the next one, well, they're both carbon, but the X1's a lot pricier for some reason, but it's because it'll do up to carbon fiber.
Yeah, this won't do that.
Yeah.
But it's
That's
also
why-
like $200 cheaper, so
Yeah,
it's,
the other one taps out at it'll do ABS, I think, but it will. But it's like ASA is like kind of unique on it, and the X one will do ASA and carbon fiber.
the that one's enclosed, right?
Yeah, they both are.
Yeah, see, mine's not enclosed, mine's an open frame, but seriously, for the price.
Yeah.
And then you don't have the controversy that hit Bamboo Labs to deal with either, so.
Bamboo Labs changed their operation or something. You need to subscribe to a service in the web or something.
Yeah, they changed how you send files to the printer.
Okay, so you can use your own software. You need to use their
I think you have to use their
their
stuff
stuff.
to
Yeah,
do it.
because I read something about people is angry about that.
Yeah, some sort of security thing that, because the printer's always connected to the internet and they can't hack it or something. It's one of those things.
I can't imagine that a 3D printer is going to be very intrusive no matter how it's set up.
Well,
They
It's
have
not
like
gonna
a
give me
different
banking
knife or
data.
something.
Yeah, they don't want you printing a 3D gun. Or if they do, they can tell who's doing it.
There were some old printers, like, generations ago, that were connected, and people were able to hack into those and set the temperatures way out of bounds
Fire.
and catch the things on fire.
Yeah, who's gonna happen regardless.
And that was kind of a big wake up, don't leave your printer connected to the internet all the time kind of thing.
Slide it.
Why doesn't need to connect to the internet at all, kind of thing?
Yeah, HP ink, I've got to leave an HP printer connected to get the cheap ink from them.
Yeah. Well.
Little hint, the cheap ink isn't.
They say it's not cheap and electrical tape works wonders bypass the page count. The same.
The Cobra, I used it for about a month without it being connected to the internet. And then I broke down, connected it to the internet. Now it does get updates and everything. But I have never, ever sent any of my files over to it via the internet. I've always just put them on a flash drive and taken them over to it.
So on the Bamboo, can you connect the USB cable to it
I don't know.
and use Octoprint or something?
I don't know.
Be able to.
Yeah, you have a pen drive or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe you can convert it to their system, but you can take out your mouse or whatever
They,
to other printer or machine.
all I know is a bunch of people who had Bamboos were not happy that they made that change. So
Every time they're like proprietary,
trying to take,
plastic spools or something that gives the plastic from them like.
Yeah.
the-
so
But I don't know how they would do that on model when they're already on the floor.
through a firmware update.
You're using a spool of plastic, how do you, I mean, they don't connect.
Oh,
to
it's
the
got an RFID
So-
in the spool.
They've got an RFID chip, so all they have to do is say, oh, this isn't a Bamboo
Plastic,
plastic.
you use an old
I
spool.
need that.
Well,
I-
there's always
I'm
ways
just
around.
saying.
There's always, so the Cobra also has RFID, but
I've never heard of such a. That's ridiculous.
what the RFID on the Cobra, it contains best temperature sense for that spool and the color of that spool and all this, so I don't have to manually put all that in. Otherwise, it doesn't freaking care. As long as it knows what is in there, it doesn't care. And the only firmware update I've ever gotten for it is for the multi-filament deal. I have never seen an update for the actual firmware on the printer.
You see where they're saying the AI is getting dumber.
It's eating itself.
Speaking of updates, does anybody here have a fire recast box? So basically, here's a video recording from Amazon. They have decided not to support it. And their last update basically you can no longer get it to record anything.
That sounds about right. Roku does the same stuff, man.
It's now a small electric heater.
It probably doesn't even heat that well, does it?
It doesn't. And the illumination element is not very good either.
You want a good heater.
Mm.
Just toasty right here. So this is why my when I'm doing the meetings at home, this is why the computer room stays at a nice toasty 80 degrees. I'm sitting right on top of this.
Well, I ended up putting a tuner card back into the computer. And it's fine, except that it doesn't have as intelligent an interface with future broadcasts. So we went to record a program the other night, which was an current one. And ended up recording the State of the Union.
It's been at least 15 years ago. I had a DVD player that had a tuner built in and a hard drive built into it. And it would record to DVDs or to the hard drive, and you could set it all up. I've still got it, but it's the old standard, the old analog standard, and it won't record anymore.
I mean,
It won't
technically
tune.
speaking, you could put a HD tuner in front of it.
Yeah.
It'd be ugly.
It would. The company that made it makes one with a digital tuner. And from what I understand, they were fantastic. And I was able to take plug a USB cable into it and move the videos from that it recorded onto the computer and all kinds of stuff. It's just a wonderful.
Well, I bought these cards. I can't pronounce the name of the company. It's,
Hauppauge,
thank you. That company, but I can't pronounce.
out of Hauppauge, New York.
I had two cards for two different computers. And after getting we were gifted the fire recast box. And it did such a much nicer job of letting you look at the schedule and selecting what you wanted to record. That I pulled them out. And so they were laying around the house and I thought they were just about ready for recycle. And after the fire recast box update, basically tripled the functionality of it. We started looking at alternative digital video recorders. $120. So I found that the software, I could buy a software update from that company for the current card. It was still functional even after about 10 years. Put it back in the machine and started the software. It just doesn't go through and anticipate what's going to be broadcast. And I was surprised that information is broadcast from the digital stations.
Mhm.
So they just capture it. It's a little awkward to use. We still have to get used to it. I didn't know whether anybody else had.
Try Jellyfin. Jellyfin is the recorder. There are plugins that are really good at dealing with that sort of thing. And it downloads guides for what's going to be on weeks into the future. So you can tell it you want to record all of MASH and it will start recording, but when it sees a rerun that it's already got, it records it and then checks to see if one of them is better quality than the other. It's pretty impressive.
Does it use a proprietary tuner or?
No, it works with pretty much anything you want. I've got a silicon dust dual tuner, so I can record 2 channels at once. And then make a 3 and a 4, and their prices are good. Like, I think mine I paid like $65. I'm not sure, but
This is both of these tuners that I have a single channel.
Mhm.
And this is just my personal bias, but I've never found 2 channels worth of crap.
For a while, I was recording the news because occasionally people say, hey, can I get a report? Did anybody see what happened on 19 3 days ago?
Yeah.
Yep, I got it recorded. And I just auto delete those after 3 weeks or so. But yeah, having the ability to record 2 channels is kind of nice.
That DVD player that I've got, even though it had an analog tuner, it would pull up a list of. It might have been connected to it always said TV guide, And it had the old TV Guide logo, so it probably pulled that up off of the
Off of their site.
website, yeah. But it was always really good, and you could go in and select what you wanted to record and what time.
Probably 15 years ago, Microsoft had a software package they stopped supporting. But it was very convenient, very intuitive. And you could say, I want either a single episode or I want you to find this, regardless of where it is, whatever channel it's on. But they stopped supporting that. And that's about the time that the cards have.
Yeah. There are alternatives out there though. I mean, if you want a set-top box, there's that DVD thing.
I've got a tuner in the machine that's working, does a fine job. Great, 1080
Yeah.
presentation. I'll try the jellyfish though and see what that looks like. I'll give us the future schedule.
How big are the files with that many? How big are the files with that many?
The video recording. I really haven't paid any attention. We watch it and pitch it. I don't really need to look at Lester Holt from 6 months ago.
Nice.
Mine without compression at 19.2 by 1080 is about 750 megs, 760.
Yeah, I was gonna say mine,
But I crap out on the audio because I can't hear it anyways.
the one, the DVD box, the old thing that. I don't know what it was using for compression. It certainly was not a modern thing. But it always came out under a gig. I mean, somewhere under a gig.
But if you're digging out, because that's pretty decent.
Well, storage capacity in the last 10 years, the price has just plummeted.
Yeah.
You put a lot of stuff on a 2 terabyte drive.
Not much. No,
Not as much as you think it would hold.
But this thing had a 500 gig hard drive, and I don't think I've ever came close to filling it up.
500 gig won't even hold some TV series.
I know. Trust me, I know. How many freaking terabyte drives do I have? I have,
It's like Stargate, I think, pushes around 600 or 700.
yeah, but they were running in 12 years.
I'm just saying.
I got a series that I know is
I don't
damn
even-
close to a terabyte, just the series.
fucking Doctor Who. That.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's like
35
years.
Doctor Who up till Peter Capaldi, everything else was not worth watching.
Yeah, I concur, but
Well, I
I haven't
figured
watched
out
the
the
new
plot
one
of Doctor Who is how do you get scantily clad ladies to say kill them now or kill them later?
Well, I figured out the plot of most sci-fi from like the 1950s is how many go-go dancers can we get into the rocket ship?
Yes.
Fallings and
I just checked and my tuner is $110. So, I mean, and it works very well.
Everything's gone up.
Yeah, but I've got a smallish antenna that's in the attic and isn't rotatable or anything, and I get like 40 channels, only about 12 of which I have listed as is that one, but I can watch it on my phone. There's an app for that. I can record it. It's pretty nice.
what I have is a chimney top. And I go up about 30 feet above ground level, 34 feet, I guess. And I can either point the antenna for Dayton, or I can point it towards Cincinnati. The problem is all of the tuners say we're gonna scan for channels, but you can't force it to remember those. So if I rotate the antenna to point to Dayton, it will erase all of the channels that it found.
Oh, really?
So I have even tried to go through and say, okay, I only want to add channels between 14 and 19, rotating the antenna. But it's not very effective. I'd like to be able to have a collection that I don't have to rescan. I simply need to rotate the antenna.
Well, my antenna is aimed at the Star 64 tower. I can actually see that from my roof. But I get a ton of Dayton stations anyway. I mean, literally, my antenna is like this long. It was the cheapest thing I could find at Home Depot.
My antenna is even cheaper than that. It's just one of those. Yeah, pretty much. And I get, I think, at last I scanned, it was 48 channels from both markets.
Yeah. And I don't know of anything that I would have to tune in Dayton to catch. Unless maybe sports stuff might be blocked out here, but I don't watch sports.
Most of the channels are duplicated anyway. But channel 7, I don't know where that's out of, but they've got the MeTV Cartoon Network.
Oh, okay.
So there are a few advantages to.
Yeah, I get 7.
There is a website that you can specify your exact location, and it gives you where the broadcast antennas are.
I think that's Mr. Tuner.
There's several of them.
There's. I read somewhere a while ago, probably within the last 3 or 4 months, that you actually should rescan every few months anyway, because new channels appear and channels disappear all the time. So
My problem is just kind of the opposite of what you're describing. You have a very wide directional receiver antenna. Mine, unfortunately, bought one that was just a narrow beam. So
he's got a little Yagi.
Yes, so
I
do I.
have trouble finding the difference between channel 19, for example, and channel 12. There's enough of a difference between the broadcast antenna that I can get one, and I have to rotate by 2 degrees
Really?
to get the other.
That's weird that your tuner won't let you just add. My tuner will let me just add channels. I could go in and just say, add this channel, and then it will scan for just that channel.
Well, not only the tuner, but the televisions themselves.
Yeah, see, that's weird. My TV will let me do that.
I don't know. When I want to watch live TV, I open up the HD Home Run app.
I don't usually watch TV, so
I'm bored. Lost it there.
yeah, it's pretty much.
Rumble? Never heard of that one.
Rumble came about 2020-ish,
Oh,
maybe a little bit
Found
before.
out by Dan Bongino, a couple of them, so they got booted off Facebook and YouTube.
Yeah. So it's not.
It's not stellar, but if you want to watch, you know. like-
There's some.
There's a lot of TV shows that brought the live stream to it and podcasts and stuff like that.
There's stuff on there that YouTube would have kicked off a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, there's stuff like you can literally like watch.
Yeah.
Like gut solid of it streamed on it, so like, as soon as the episode finishes, it's on Rumble.
Yep.
Most nights, and then you can watch it at 2x speed with no commercials. So you can watch it in 20 minutes instead of an hour. But it's really nice.
That's one thing that DVD player that I had did excellently. It would remove the commercials for me.
Yeah, well, I had to try an old like Kilo box and.
Yeah.
before
Oh,
they-
the old analog
years
signals,
ago.
when I had a friend that worked at 22, and there would be subaudible tones that are sent, and if you knew what those tones were, you could block the commercials. Because those subaudible, one tone would put in a commercial for the local market, and then another tone would put in a national market, and one tone would be just for the program that's being.
Well,
And
that's
if you
stupid.
knew
That's
those,
still
you
like
could just
this.
get rid of them.
Well, that's the same. The original TiVo 1.0 would not record commercials, and they got sued into the ground about over it.
Well, see, the beauty of having a no-name box.
Yeah, well, and that's the, it drives me bonkers for like, alt fiber uses Cox. You can't skip the commercials when you do like on demand. But it's crap, you can record it and you can fast forward, but if you wanna watch it on demand, you gotta watch it. Like, why am I paying for this? They can watch it on YouTube or Rumble for free without the commercials.
I only had a couple of times where it did catch the tone, and I saw the commercial. But
Yeah.
most of the time it would catch those tones. It was really cool. Well before anything else was able to do it.
Well, this is not exactly along those lines, but NBC News had a story about people who had managed to steal and resell tickets for artists that were performing their and they had a clip the woman who had tried to buy tickets. And she's just weeping on the tickets. They can tell me about the thieves and how they're going to jail. I don't really care about this poor woman who couldn't.
You hear Taylor Swift tickets?
Yeah.
Cause all of us bought up all the tickets. There's such crap that they're beating on. Ticketmaster so hard. The 400,000 computer bots basically hacked them, they use out of it.
I'm okay with Ticketmaster getting hacked. I would love to see them go out of business.
You know,
I,
you want to go back to standing in line in person and.
I'm okay with that. I can't do that anymore.
Yeah,
They have gotten to the point where the only way you can get a ticket is through Ticketmaster, and it's a $70 ticket, and the performer gets $6, and then Ticketmaster gets what's left plus a service fee.
And a convenience.
Yeah,
fee, and a holding fee, and just because we can't rip you off fee.
And the fee for the fee.
This is all the scalpers that get tickets, whether they're allowed to or not. But we use it for some conventions and stuff here and there. It's been a whole lot nicer than some other platforms. Where you can't really get to the site at all.
I don't know. The last few times I've bought tickets, I've had to go through Ticketmaster, and I saw Squirrel Nut Zippers down in Kentucky. This was probably 6 years ago. And I drove down, I bought the tickets ahead of time. They were $22. On Ticketmaster, they were almost $100. I don't mind driving somewhere to buy a ticket if it's gonna save me $65.
Yeah, no, I get you. I'm bonkers, but
I remember when you used to be able to just to drive up to the ticket box at
Yeah.
the arena or whatever, at the venue, the day of.
Take your chances as to what the seats were.
Yeah,
remember
most of the time you're getting nosebleeds, but
third of mine when the concert sold out. By the time we get to the cashier.
It's sold out because Ticketmaster has all the tickets. If we get rid of Ticketmaster, that problem goes away.
Ticketmaster is the scalpers.
Yeah.
They are the scalpers. Well,
Sorry,
the last.
this is a thing that I
It's fine.
am about.
We agree with you. In principle, we just don't have the emphasis that you have carried.
It is a thing I'm passionate about.
The last concert I saw,
I don't care that much.
it had to have been late nineties.
Mhm.
Down,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't go to concerts mainly because they're freaking expensive to do
Yeah.
it. But it was Nine Inch Nails. It was down in Atlanta, Georgia. And one of my buddies, we were just driving around and there was a sign up that said Nine Inch Nails. And my buddy said, let's go. I said, okay. We walked right up to and we were in the very last place that we could be, but I think tickets were $22 a piece and.
Yeah.
It's, about 25 years ago, my uncle suffered a heart attack. I moved to Kansas City because his daughter had run out of family leave. And he really didn't need anything. We had home health care coming in and he was capable of fixing this and stuff. He just felt more comfortable having someone there as a companion. And it turned out that an intern that had worked for me lived a few blocks away. And I knew he was interested in music and stuff, so I took my collection with me and went over. And one of the artists that he really liked was a woman named Elaine Mandel. And his fiance looked at that and found that she was going to be performing right there in Kansas City the next day at a real dive bar. And so it's what it's on. Yeah, great. So we go over, we sit down and have a couple of beers, waiting for them to open up the room. And we walk through the door when they open it up. And the furthest band member away from where I was seated is probably where Leroy is, and you were where she was performing. And it's like, I'll never stumble into that again.
But there was a bar over on Old 25 in Middletown. And I wish I would have gone. They had Information Society playing there and a couple other bands from that time frame. And this place was a dive. I mean, the whole entire bar wasn't no bigger than this place, this room. And they had to have been right on top of each other.
Yeah.
It would have been awesome.
But it was funny, I played a little bit of her for my nephew, and I said, what do you think? And he says, I think she should have green hair. And I said, well, she didn't. Came in dressed as a librarian. And people in the audience had green hair. I went in to buy a CD when there were still such things as CDs. And the woman behind the counter said, Barbara Mandel? And I said, no, Elaine Mandel.
Oh, good times, good times. Here.
I, I know this is not even related, but thinking about things in my mind. My wife was working at in high school as a dishwasher for a country club. And she and the other waitress decided they were gonna go out, and everybody else had left and go out to skin dipping in the pool behind the country club. This is said tongue in cheek. My wife says, I don't understand how come the cops had to keep their spotlights on us until we got dressed. Yeah, like there wasn't any reason for that. I was using that little splinter just to push the parts out. For the parent. And, we went up to see the demonstration at Ray's place. He has a laser cutter. He was talking about doing 400 inches a minute. And it since, even if the metal is misshapen and warped and stuff, the laser head would work around for it. The demonstration that he put on, the laser came out. Yeah.
They do something over there because he was trying to learn how to use it. So now he's right. It's still factory as well.
When in the lab down here, they were talking about when you could go in, rather than the earth being two-dimensional. I could go through manually and trace it to the first year was like, oh, hey,
It's free for all.
500 years of tracing the mouse to go through and do that. And then it wouldn't, the accuracy would be so low you couldn't put the pieces together.
Cut all the pieces out individually, and then want to for a puzzle. See where they're coming. Not like the cardboard where we can see it.
It's kind of- Did that for a long time, making models. It's-
Well, I'm not saying the other cutter's not gonna stand with.
Yeah, now you can buy. You model airplanes in balsa.
Yeah.
You can buy a kit for $80, where you can buy the laser cutter design for 60.
Oh, yeah. Cut it out yourself,
Yeah.
So,
but you can cut out more than one. I was just thinking you could just 3D print one.
Yeah.
I think 3D printing a puzzle would be a lot easier than
Well, I'm at the
that.
point.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
Because my dovetails never work well on 3D prints. If I make stuff that's two pieces, we gotta go together, I've always got to, I've got to shrink that by
Really?
percent or two.
See, that's one thing that, you know how PLA usually shrinks?
Yeah,
A little or whatever, it's just not quite right. That Cobra must take that into account, because I have never had one. I mean, the tolerances, I
Hmm.
printed a couple of those tolerances blocks, and those things damn near perfect.
That's one of the big things I was watching here on this carbon and something that's gonna do, because the 10-15 year new technology, they're the software packages, everybody are like, are a lot nicer.
But yeah, that Orca slicer, I mean, that thing,
it's fancy.
yeah,
Auto leveling,
there's so much
auto
stuff in
cleaning,
that thing.
self-clearing. Everything, everybody said, if you're gonna buy one, just,
The,
then you can splurge the extra $100 or $200, go get a nicer one,
the,
like the fenders or
the resonance tuning, just letting it sit there and shake for a little while and figure out what it needs to do.
Well, I've noticed some of the videos I've watched of people manufacturing parts. If they wish them to fit together, they would simply print like 5 or 6 of them.
Mhm.
Slightly different. And then,
but
oh, this one works. And
Yep.
the rest of them are trash.
you'll know what they do in the future, the next time they do the second run.
Like,
But only if it's the same size.
Yeah.
If the whole thing is bigger, then you've got to start over again.
the, my old printer, even the, realities,
Mhm.
I think shrink. If you know what the shrinkage is, you just bump that, you tell it, bump that up a little bit and you're fine. But like the Cobra, haven't had any problem with it actually shrinking. So I think either the software takes advantage of it, or the Cobra itself does it. Because the Cobra will let you bring a STL file over and slice it itself.
Yeah, you can do that in the one we're using. That'll reslice.
The fill pattern is a little, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I've made it denser, and I've decreased it, and it doesn't seem to make much of a difference.
Well,
The only one that I actually noticed where it made a little bit of a difference was with that TPU. The stuff that's actually more like rubber.
Yeah.
And that one I did have to bump it up just slightly. So whatever firmware or whatever they've got in there doesn't have quite the right setting for the TPU. It wasn't that big a deal. It was like, oh,
There's a guy that does a hollow shell. 3D print and fills it with cement.
yeah.
And I was thinking that cement does shrink. I don't know whether the amount would be important for it to be small. Fill, you know.
Probably not, and you can get cement that doesn't shrink. Refractory cement doesn't, and they make one for waterproofing around pipes and stuff that expands. And it's actually bigger than what it starts out as.
I have a neighbor that works for a precast concrete company. And he's got it almost seems like an infinite variety of tools that he can make stuff to make gigantic multi-ton objects that have zero tolerance.
Yeah.
So we watched the video or somebody was using a 3D printer and printed parts and then use that to make the concrete molding or whatever, and then did something and melted the plastic out. And then it died, and then like pour the thing and then beat the ceramic off. And it was slick. I was like, what the world is doing? And they used the plastic, thing and the cylinder to hold the shape, and then
The plastic makes the mold and then the mold
it's like
makes
a double
the metal.
negative cast, it was like that was screwy, because then it was like they melted burned all the plastic out in a forge, and then poured their aluminum or whatever, your copper alloy or something, and do it to make shape, and then beat the concrete off.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell?
Yeah, we probably watched the same video because I was kind of like, oh, that's interesting. Too bad I don't have one of those and I don't have a big old
Well,
curve.
The
Furnace with all this stuff.
so it was like a copper dihedral or something or whatever, and it was spinning it and levitate. It was really slick.
Yeah. You print a model bigger than what you need. You dump concrete in it with like a tube so that it holds the shape. And then you dump metal into it, and then you get this really cool metal piece.
We love it.
Well, it's been
Well,
it levitates, I don't know,
It-
electric going through.
Yeah,
Or something
and
called-
an inductive printer.
Yeah.
does all kinds of cool stuff.
It wasn't, he hadn't had it quite balanced out right, because he had it spinning on an axis like this, and then some people said it'd been a lot more stable if you put the axis horizontal. It's totally trying to do another generation of it, but we use like it's got the globe with the thing inside or whatever, and we electrify the thing, it causes the other one to spin in there, then you get the frequency right, and it levitates, and it was really slick. It's weird, but I said, when he was doing it by hand, like spinning it by hand, the ball was levitating in that cage or whatever, and but he was trying to hook it up to a motor, so he didn't have to sit there and like, so then it was like, it would wobble, and it was like, and then it start bouncing around, because it would get out of harmonic, frequency or whatever,
Yeah.
but. So like, that's where the people were telling me, like, if you put the axis on the other, put the magnetic field off having stood it up or whatever, was causing more of the problem. Everything else was kind of wonky. Where the thing clamped together, so they were saying if they put that on the end, it wouldn't affect the levitation of the copper so much. It was really wild. I don't worry about the idea from, I think he said in the video.
Yeah.
It was a neat project.
Something about old school meets new school or something.
It was
It was a wild video.
It was based on some work. There's a Lockheed Skunk Works guy who, before he died, some kid came in. It was the dynamics of like dropping aluminum through pipe, and like because it's non-magnetic, right? But if you drop it through steel pipe, it goes straight through. Drop through copper pipe.
Yeah.
It takes like a minute and a half to come through the same length to his thing. Well, so he took like this magnetic, like aluminum ball bearing, and built like a copper dihedral or whatever, spins the copper and it levitates the aluminum. It was really kind of neat.
Well, I have a balance that has a magnetic fin between two rare earth magnets. And if you move it, for damping, so if the balance is starting to vibrate, it will induce a current
Level.
and it will dampen.
Yeah, I think
So I'm trying to do it without that, it's like 15 minutes, it's still happening.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
That's the one.
I watched a clip that one recommended me to another clip, but it was like first one or something. So the guy's got like this thin aluminum plate. And you know, and if you don't do anything, you kick it over, it goes, boom, you know, and loops, right? But if you cut this pattern in, and you know, it goes, and it stops dead. When it hits, there's nothing touching it, it's just the induced magnetic
Yeah.
field of it going past the other metal causing it to stop in place. It's like, dude, that is like, I never heard of it before or seen it. Like, I've seen stuff cut like it was cut. I had no idea what it was or
Right.
why, you know. Cause I've seen that pattern in some plants I've been, and I just didn't know what they would do, but it's like a stop safety gap for when something breaks, it keeps it from swinging.
Well, this was an old balance.
We are at the 3-minute mark. So. That didn't mean anything, it just meant we're at the 3-minute mark. But it does mean I'm saying bye to Art. Everybody say bye to Art.
Good night.
Bye.
We're virtual next week, so
He's always virtual anymore, he doesn't like it.
he's always in California. See you later.